concept of this video is about slope-intercept form. So let's start by just looking at what slope-intercept form is, which is y equals mx plus b. M and b are placeholders, so they are the numbers that you're going to plug in. You just have to know which one goes in the correct place. So m stands for slope, and b, and I included this sign there because it includes the sign for b. B is your y-intercept, all right? So once you find them, you would take out m and plug in your slope, take out b and plug in your y-intercept, and your equation would be in slope-intercept form. Benefits of this equation would be that 1, you know the slope, and 2, you know the y-intercept. So those would be the highest benefits of this. A few things about the y-intercept. First of all, what it looks like. This is 0, comma, and then a y value. So if you were to think about this, the y-intercept is usually on the y-axis. And so how you write this coordinate would be the 0, meaning you did not move side to side. You only moved up or down. So therefore, it would be something like, for example, 0, 6 or 0, negative 3. Those would all be a way to write the y-intercept. Other things to note about the y-intercept, it's your starting point or your base number for whatever situation you're dealing with, and it's always the number that's not attached to x. Okay, so they don't always have to be in this mx plus b form. I guess I should also write that y equals b plus mx could also be an acceptable form. So the y-intercept is always the number not attached to the variable. So there's lots of different situations that you could be put in to have to write a slope-intercept form example. And so I just kind of want to walk through those 4 different types of examples. So the first type would be if you're actually given the slope and the y-intercept. So if you were put into that situation, just plug in for m and b. So the slope is m and the y-intercept is b. So this would be y equals negative 6 x plus 12. Okay, I knew it was plus 12 because 12 is positive. Okay, and remember that the negative has to go with the 6. So what if you're given a graph? Well, you actually need to calculate the slope and the y-intercept and then just plug them in. So in this case, I know my y-intercept. I'm looking for the y-axis, which is right here. So this is negative 1, 2, 3. So the y-intercept, or b, is negative 3. The next thing I'm going to do is, based off the last video that we really talked about, which was that triangle effect. So this went up 1, 2, 3, and went over 1, 2, 3. So this has an m value of 3 over 3, which, remember, you always need to reduce for slope, which is 1. So this equation would be y equals 1x minus 3. Or I could drop the 1 and just write y equals x minus 3. Both of those equations would be acceptable. What if you're given the slope and 1 point? So the first thing you need to do is go ahead and plug in your slope. So here's my slope. It's negative 1/2. So I have y equals negative 1/2 x plus b. Okay. After you plug in your slope, it says substitute x and y into the equation to solve for b. Well, where are we getting the x and y? That's coming from the coordinate. So the x is always written first and the y is always written second. So I'm going to plug in negative 18 in for x, and I'm going to plug in 5 in for y. So 5 equals negative 1/2, times 18 plus b. Okay? So the first thing you need to do once you substitute is go ahead and multiply. So negative 1/2 times 18 is negative 9. And if I want to solve for b, okay, I need to move the negative 9 over. So to do that, I would add 9 to both sides, and 14 equals b. So now I'm going to go back up to this equation and plug in 14. So there's my equation there. So step 4, or type 4, is the most amount of work. So the first thing I need to do now is calculate the slope. So I'm going to go ahead and make my table. 6, negative 12, and 9. And I'm going to go ahead and subtract these. So let's see here. I get 18 and negative 13. This is going to be a hot mess. So negative 13 over 18 is m. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and plug that in. So y equals negative 13/18 x plus b. Now I'm to the point where I was last time. I have my slope, and I have 2 points. Essentially, you just get to pick one, okay? So it doesn't matter. I'm going to pick the one with smaller numbers. So I'm going to plug 6 in for x and negative 4 in for y. So 4 equals negative 13 times 8, or 13/18 times 6 plus b. So let's see here. This would be 4 equals negative 13/3, I believe, yes, plus b. And then I'm going to add 13/3 to both sides. And when you do that, you would get, I believe, 25/3 equal to b. So my equation here would be y equals negative 13/8 or 18ths x plus 25/3. Okay? Let's look at that one more time just to make sure that this solidifies for you how this works. So again, you need to find your slope. So 10, negative 3, and 14, 7. So once we subtract, we get negative 4 and negative 10. So negative 10 over negative 4. First of all, the negatives cancel. And 10/4 really becomes 5/2. So y equals 5/2 x plus b. Now comes to the point where we can pick our coordinate. Let's pick this first one, smaller numbers. The 10 is going in for x. The negative 3 is going in for y. So negative 3 equals 25 plus b. Subtract 25 because it's positive, and negative 28 equals b. So this equation here would be y equals 5/2 x minus 28. So I'd encourage you to go back through this video if you're confused by anything. And as always, if you have any questions, come see me.